So, have you ever wondered what Pokemon Emerald and Crystal could have looked like together? Well, look no further and welcome to Emerald Seaglass, a Generation 3 ROM hack with Generation 2 aesthetics. This game is also giving the trainers new teams, it has Pokemon and moves from later generations, and it's overall harder than the original. And we're going to be playing through this too with a shiny only, hardcore Nuzlocke. Now, I'm not really sure what the shiny odds for this game are, as we not only get a shiny charm at the start, but we also get a second one in Fortree too, which is going to make the odds become even lower. Also, if you're new to the channel too guys, then welcome, I'm Ant, and I make a variety of Pokemon challenge content, and if you like what you see, then I think you're going to enjoy it here. We've just hit 6,000 subscribers as well, which is insane. I want to thank everybody for all the support, and we're now aiming for our next milestone of 7k now too, so if you haven't already, then make sure you smash that big red button, and finally, let's go get into things. So I start things off by doing the whole intro, and I gotta pick up the shiny charm in the PC. Now from here I'm gonna start shiny hunting the starter, and this was really annoying honestly, because I went and found myself a shiny Zigzagoon on phase 1. So out of pure pettiness I just went and killed this. I was fine with it kind of, but then on phase 2 guess what? I found another one. No. So out of pettiness I killed that as well, and after hours of hunting I finally found myself a shiny Mudkip. Coming in on phase 3 of the entire hunt. If you can hear me talking it all in the background as well, I tried to live record and I had the dB set into like -17, so my voice was really quiet, but it's mixed into the audio. But there it is, our shiny Mudkip. Coming in with a quirky nature, which ain't that great. It's got the damp ability, and it's got some pretty nice stats. At least I think so anyway. I go and give this a nickname of Kippy, and we go get into the first rival battle of the run. Now this battle doesn't actually even count because we don't have Pokeballs yet, so I just whacked on the speed up on the emulator and spam tackle. Eventually taking down the Trico with 1 HP to win the fight. So not really much is going to happen until I get to Petalburg Woods. And I decide here that I'm going to start looking for another Pokemon. The Pokemon I have in mind that I really want to find is Shroomish. So I'm just looking around the grassy areas right now, and I'm also using the Dex Nav as well to try and help myself hunt for things a bit more specifically. And after about 2 hours of looking, we end up finding ourselves a shiny Shroomish. Yes! I wonder if you can hear my reaction as well. I'm going to maybe make the audio quite low and I'm going to be speaking over it, but yeah, the live recording definitely did not work out the way I wanted it to. We go capture up the Shroomish though, and I'm going to go give this a nickname of Squishy. Do a little bit of training before getting into our first Team Aqua fight of a run, also in Petalburg Woods, where in this fight he actually comes at us with a Whalmer. Now I know Mudkip probably wasn't going to handle this itself, so I lead with Squishy, and I'm going to start off with a Leech Seed. Unfortunately, I didn't actually have any moves yet to really do much damage outside of tackles, so again, this fight's pretty much just kind of a tackle spam after doing this. And after spamming this enough times and getting healing at the end of every turn as well, we can eventually take down the Whalmer and win this fight. After making it out of Petalburg Woods, we reach Rustboro and we're going to go get into our first gym fight of a run against Roxanne. She leads off here with an Anorith. I'm going to lead off with Kippy. And Water Gun on the first turn is going to go knock it down into low life. And it would have allowed us to safely two-shot this, but she potions and knock it back down into low life again. And then she potions again. But this is actually not that bad because she's wasting her potions on Anorith here. And I actually crit on this one as well, so I don't even have to waste another turn after. So with the Anorith down now, she's going to then send in Lileep. I'm starting off with a Mud Slap here just to go and lower its accuracy a little bit. Its Rock Tomb as well done quite a bit of damage to me, so I'm going to go for a Growl on this twice to lower its attack into -2. That way then, when we go and make the switch over into Squishy on the next turn, we're not going to take too much damage. If it was going for Rock Tomb anyway, it goes for Absorb, which is even better. From here now, my plan is I'm going to go hit this with a Fake Tears and drop its special defense into -2. And then I'm going to go for a Mega Drain after as well. And doing this is going to knock the Lileep down into half-life, meaning that on the next turn, I can go for a second Mega Drain and finish this off, putting us into our last Pokemon, which is Nosepass. Nosepass goes for a Rock Tomb, which we managed to dodge, and I'm going to go put this under Leech Seed now. Hit a Fake Tears on the next turn to knock the Nosepass's special defense down into -2. Take a Rock Tomb, which is going to go put me down into the yellow life, and then I'm going to go hit this with a Mega Drain, finish off the remainder of its HP, defeat Roxanne, and earn ourselves the first gym badge of a run. Shortly after as well, Mudkip's then going to go and evolve into a Marshtomp, and I'm going to go get into a second fight with Team Aqua. So again, it's just the guy with the Whalmer. I'm going to go for a Mega Drain, knock it onto really low life, take it down with a Bullet Seed after to win the fight. And what this is going to do is it's going to allow me access to Dewford City. I've also fixed my recording here as well with my own actual voiceovers, but I only continue to record live until about Watson. I'll tell you one thing, we're definitely not fighting May here. Let me make sure I say no. No. Get away from me. I just noticed this place sells mints. I'm definitely getting an adamant mint straight away. I'm not really sure how this is going to work pre-edit, but I'm going to give it a try anyway and see how it turns out. But yeah, if you can hear me now in some of the next few clips, I'm not actually commentating. Let's go. I've just fucking fast forwarded it because I thought it was not shiny. I'll go over into squishy now. Unless it focus energies. We could be okay for a turn to get a tiny bit of... No, man! Oh! So, with that live recording I actually started, I really hate how it sounds in edits, so I'm just going to go back to commentating the clips. Unfortunately, the game music might not really match up with the clips for the next few battles, but this will still only last until Watson. I've now just set up my Taylor, and with that, we're going to go get into the fight with Brawly. So in the fight with Brawly here, he's going to go start off with Makuhita. I start off with our new Taylor, and I go for a Brave Bird on the first turn, and take down this Makuhita with a one-shot. And once Makuhita goes down, he then sends out Heracross. This is double super effective. I go for another Brave Bird here, and take this down. And now lastly, we just got his Meditite. So I've just got some Berry healing here. I go for a third Brave Bird, take down the Meditite, and that's Brawly defeated. The Oran Berry was needed there as well because otherwise we would have died from recoil. I then reached Slateport after, and I have to go get into a few fights with Team Aqua here. Now, these aren't really any important fights, but I do leave them in because I almost make a huge mistake in it. First fight goes absolutely fine. I'm just going to go spam a bunch of tackles and take down the Carvana. But then we go get into a second fight after. He sends out a Lombre, so I'm immediately going to go switch over into Kamikaze. I take a bubble on the switch as well, which doesn't really do anything to us. And then I go for a Brave Bird after and take down the Lombre. Now, this is where the big mistake comes because he sends in another Carvana here. And so it outspeeds, it goes for Aqua Jet. Then I'll go for a Brave Bird. I know it's going to one-shot, but what I did not think about was the fact that I'm going to get recoil damage and rough skin damage. And I almost died. That's still fine though because we do survive. I'm then going to go and evolve Kamikaze over into a Swellow as well, just in time for the next May fight. And with that, we go get into it. So she's going to lead off Wingull here. I'm going to lead off with Kippy. I do get hit with Supersonic, but I'm able to go take down the Wingull with 2 tackles. From here, then I need to go hard switch as well because they got Grovyle. So I go straight over into Kamikaze, take a Mega Drain on the switch, and then I'm going to go hit this with a Brave Bird and take this down. With Grovyle down now, we're just up against May's last Pokemon. I'm hit with a Flame Wheel, it burns me, and it wastes my berry as well, which I didn't really need in this fight, so because of this, I go for a Guts boosted Brave Bird and take this down. Heading all the way then into Morville City, and getting into a fight with Wally outside the gym. He's only got 1 Pokemon, which is Routes. I'm going to lead Squishy because I'm trying to get it to evolve, and Squishy goes and takes this down with a 2-shot to Bullet Seed. And I do a bit more training after, and then go and get Squishy to evolve into a Breloom. Just in time for the Watson fight. Oh, that looks amazing. I love that. Before then, re-entering the Morville gym and getting into our 3rd gym fight of a run. So Watson here is going to lead off with Volbeat. And I'm trying to take this down with a Rock Tomb, but Rock Tomb's putting Volbeat into very low life. And it's just not finishing it off. I'm taking Infestation every turn as well, which is kind of annoying because it does a bit of damage between every turn, especially with the fact that Watson's going to keep spamming potions here. So he uses a Super Potion, gets Volbeat back to full life. I knock it back down into low life again. Then Watson heals again. So this repeats for a 3rd time, and now finally I can go and take down the Volbeat, which then gets us into his next Pokemon, Manectric. So for Manectric here, I make a hard switch over into Kippy, dodge a Thunder Wave, hit this with a Mud Shot, knock it into low life, it gets some healing from its Citrus Berry, I take a critical hit quick attack, and then I'm going to go take this down with a 3rd Mud Shot. After then we get Fluffy, and this goes down to a 2-shot from Mud Shot as well, which is then going to put us into his final Pokemon, Magneton. This is a 1-shot to Mud Shot. We go and take this down, and that's Watson defeated for the 3rd gym badge of a run. After defeating Watson, I've now got to go start getting into my first Team Magma fight of a run against Maxi. And I'm going to go get myself a TM for Ice Beam before we go, teaching it to Marshtomp before then getting into the fight. Maxi's going to lead off here with Mightyena. I'm leading off here with Breloom. And I'm going to go for a Force Palm on the first turn and take this down with a 1-shot. The next Pokemon Maxi sends out then is Gligar. So immediately I'm going to make a hard switch here over into Kippy. I'm going to take an Acrobatics on switch. And then I'm going to go for an Ice Beam on the next next turn, which takes down the Gligar for us, putting us into his last Pokemon then, which is Camerupt. And Camerupt, being a ground fire type, is double super effective against Water Gun, so we go for this, knock it down into low life. So it tries to boost its special defense with Amnesia, and annoyingly this makes it survive the second Water Gun on about 1 HP. Then sets up another Amnesia, and Maxie's now going to heal as well, so while this is happening I've got to make a hard switch over into Kamikaze. Maxie heals most of Camerupt's life, and I'm going to go for a Brave Bird here, finish off the rest of Camerupt's life and defeat Maxie, allowing us access now down into Laveridge Town, where we're going to go get into our 4th gym battle of a run. So Flannery's team is a little bit different than what she usually has in Emerald. She still has a Slugma, Camerupt and Torkoal, but she also has a Flareon that I need to worry about. I'm going to start off this fight though by using Rain Dance on the first turn, just because Slugma tries to set up Sunny Day. Now I could have just went for Water Pulse on the first turn anyway, but basically it's the second turn here where I want to go for Rain Dance. And this is because the Slugma's going to go for Overheat, and it's not going to get any Sun Boost. It's also actually going to lose power because of the rain in the background. And also I'm going to do more damage when I go for Water Pulse on the next turn and take down a Slugma with a one-shot. Flannery nextly sends in her Flareon, and because I know it's going for a Sunny Day, I'm going to go and hit this with a Rock Slide. And it takes it down with a critical hit as well, which is absolutely perfect, so we don't have to worry about Flareon anymore. We got Torkoal next. Torkoal's a lot slower than us, but we are in sunlight, so I'm going to have to set up a second Rain Dance. This would actually be the third now, but we set up the next Rain Dance. Torkoal tries to go for Overheat in the rain, so it's not going to do too much damage. I then go and hit this with a Water Pulse after and knock it down into one shot. It sets up another Sunny Day, and because of this, I'm going to go set up another Rain Dance again, so it can't do too much damage to me with Overheat. And on the next turn, I can go finish this off with another Water Pulse. As Torkoal goes down, we then get into Flannery's final Pokemon, which is Camerupt. Again, this is a fire ground type. We're under rain right now, so I'm going to go for a Water Pulse immediately, take this down with a one shot, and that's Flannery defeated for the 4th gym badge of a run. Not much happens between Laveridge Town all the way down to Petalburg, but when we get there, we're going to go get into the 5th gym fight of a run against Norman. He leads off with a Spinder in this fight, and I'm going to lead off with Squishy. And on the first turn, I go for a Power Up Punch, knock the Spinder down into one shot, and I also boost myself into +1 attack. Now, Spinder annoyingly goes for Teeter Dance and puts us under confusion. I should have equipped it a Lumberry, but I didn't. That was kind of my fault. But we actually looked out. Instead of getting hurt by confusion, we can go for a second Power Punch, take down the Spinder, and also get ourselves into +2. Now, what's worrying about being confused is if we do get hurt by confusion, we're going to lose a lot of life because their attack stat is higher than what it should be. But now we're so far into this, we can't stop. So I'll go for the next move, make it past the confusion, knock the slacking down onto one shot. It's now into half life after some berry healing, and I go for another Force Palm, making it past the confusion another time before taking this down. Next up then, Norman sends out Politoed. I'm at +2 attack, so I go for a Bullet Seed, making it past confusion again, very fortunately, taking down the Politoed with a 2-shot. And with all this now, it's going to put us into Norman's final Pokemon, which is Vigoroth. We finally snap out of confusion, hit this with a Force Palm, Vigoroth goes down, and that's Norman defeated for the 5th gym badge of a run. Now with Norman down, we can go get Surf, and with Surf we can cross the water at Moorville and get ourselves all the way into the Weather Institute. This has been taken over by Team Aqua, and we're going to go get into a fight with the admin Shelly. This fight's actually really easy for us. She starts off with a Ludicolo. I'm starting off with Kamikaze. We go for a Brave Bird on the first turn. Ludicolo goes down to a one-shot. The next Pokemon then after is Mightyena, and I go for an Aerial Ace to begin, knocking it down into one shot before taking a Scary Face. And even after losing speed from Scary Face, I still outspeed the Mightyena, hit this with a Brave Bird, finish this off, and win the fight. Saving the research lab so I can finally go outside and go get into my next rival fight of a run just outside of Fortry. Now, because we're in a range setting for this fight, I'm not really too worried about Ninetales. I could have gone Marshtomp here, but Marshtomp's so super close to overleveling that I decided I was sticking with Kamikaze. I go for a Brave Bird on Ninetales, and this is a one-shot as well, so that's fine. Take this down. May then sends in Grovyle after, and I probably should have Aerial Aced here because that would have killed just by itself anyway, but I go for another Brave Bird and take down the Grovyle. The reason I should have Aerial Aced there is because I'm losing a bit of HP from doing Brave Bird, and I wasn't sure what our last Pokemon was, but when I saw it was Ludicolo, I knew it was fine. Just like the last fight, we're going to go hit this with a Brave Bird, take this down, and defeat May. Up in 4th as well, this is where we end up getting ourselves a second shiny charm, which is going to help us with our next few shiny hunts, especially considering we've got quite a lot to do now. So as I've just got the Devon scope, I decided I'm going to go look for a shiny Kecleon, and this honestly came in about 15 resets. The shiny charm doesn't make things that easy either. What I love about this Kecleon as well is I love that it's got the mystery dungeon design. When I found out what Kecleon's actual shiny design was, I was so upset. So this in Emerald Seaglass is really nice to see. I go give this a nickname of Camo, and we move on. Now what I'm thinking here is that I'm going to need another new Pokemon as well, because unfortunately Marshtomp overleveled, and because of that we're going to now have some troubles because we're missing a member of our team. So I decided what's the best Pokemon to get for Winona, a flying type trainer, and it came to my mind that I wanted an electric type. So I go to the Moorville power plant, start shiny hunting around, and admittedly I did not want this, but a shiny Voltorb came and you gotta take what you get. So I caught this up and I thought of a really funny nickname for this as well. I decided to call it Wilson. It's a bull with a face on it. If you know, you know, that's all I'm gonna say. With Wilson being pretty much near its evolution level as well, we go train this up a little bit and go and evolve this into an Electrode. Now there's just one last little preparation I need to do as well. I go ahead into an area where there's a lot of fire types and I go and make sure my Swellow gets a burn. Now with this, I'm gonna go get into the Winona fight to try and earn ourselves our 6th badge of a run. So having a little look at my team here, we've got Wilson, Camo, Kamikaze with a burn. Look how close Kamikaze was to leveling up before the fight as well. We have Breloom, which is definitely not going to get used in the fight. And then we have Marshtomp, who is just in our party, but we can't use him because he's sadly overleveled. I don't think he was going to do too much in the fight anyway. So with the Pokemon we have, I'm pretty sure we take this. So we go get into the fight and I go lead Electrode on the Fearow. Now, I know this Fearow knows Drill Run, so although I wanted to Charge Beam and try and get myself up a few stages on my special attack, I just took this down with a Thunderbolt first turn. And next up then, she sends out Tropius, so I'm going to go hit this with a Thunderbolt, see how much damage we do, and I see that we can't get it below half-life. Now, because of this, Tropius has been able to set up Sunny Day. I know I'm going to be faster than it regardless of its ability, and I go for a Volt Switch to get myself out of the fight for a minute, knocking the Tropius onto low life before making a switch over into Kamikaze and taking a Solar Beam on switch. Due to being a flying type, this isn't going to do too much damage to us, and I can go finish this off with an Aerial Ace on the next turn. Next up then, Winona sends out Skarmory, and with this I go make a hard switch back over into Wilson, and we take a Flying Gem boosted Aerial Ace on the switch. It doesn't do too much damage because we're an electric type, so it's not very effective. And here's where I'm going to do what I wanted to do against a Fearow. So I'm going to go for a Charge Beam and try and boost my special attack up. One Charge Beam knocks a Skarmory just below half-life, and we actually don't get the boost as well. That's not so bad though. I'm going to go for another Charge Beam and try again. We take down the Skarmory with the second Charge Beam, and it does actually give us that special attack boost we wanted as well. Now this whole time, when she was choosing her next Pokemon, I was praying Pelipper, and that's what she sent out as well, which is exactly what we wanted. I go for another Charge Beam, knowing this is going to one-shot, and I was praying for another boost as well to go get myself into +2, which happened. And now we're up against her Altaria. So what I noticed here is it's actually a Dragon Fairy, not a Dragon Flying. So my electric type attacks, even if it was at +2 or +3, ain't gonna do nothing. So I immediately go and Volt Switch and go over into Kamikaze. I also know this knows Earthquake from the old games, so I make sure I dodge that with Swellow being a flying type. And now I'm kind of looking at this, I'm kind of worried. I don't think I'm gonna one-shot here. So I go hit the Altaria with an Aerial Ace, knock it just below half-life before it gets its berry boost, take a Dragon Breath before then getting a bit of Citrus Berry healing. And this is why I didn't Brave Bird originally as well, because if I used Brave Bird, took the recoil damage and then took a Dragon Breath after, Kamikaze would have died. But now, after seeing how much damage Aerial Ace did and seeing Altaria get the heal from Citrus Berry, I know that a Brave Bird kills, so I go for Brave Bird on the Altaria, take this down, and that's Winona defeated for the 6th gym badge of a run. With Winona down, that's going to increase our level cap up to 42 now, which means Marshtomp can go and evolve into a Swampert as I go into the Magma Cavern and go get into another battle with Maxie. So just like the last battle with Maxie, he's going to have that Gligar, which is now evolved into a Glow Score, and I've got Ice Beam saved just for this specifically. I go for the Ice Beam and take this down with a one-shot. Nextly, he sends out Ursaring, and from what I know, this knows Trop Kick, so I'm immediately switching, and I go make the switch here over into Squishy. And the move it actually goes for as well wasn't Trop Kick but Grab Apple, which is what I meant, so it had a grass type move that was going to kill me. Switch over into Squishy. I lose a bit of defense here, which is annoying because now I can't power up punch, but if I go for Sky Uppercut, I know it's going to take this down regardless, so we go for that and take down the Ursa Ring. Boosting my attacks, that would have been a waste anyway because next lead Maxi sends out Crobat, so I'm forced to switch. I go make a switch here over into my Electrode, take a Poison Fang on switch, pray I don't get poisoned. I actually don't as well, which was really nice. I then go for a Thunderbolt, knock the Crobat down into one shot, take a second Poison Fang. This one annoyingly poisons me as well, and because of this I actually go for a Volt switch as well. And what's really annoying is Maxi goes and uses a potion, so I Volt switched out of Wilson, and Crobat still hasn't even gone down anyway. I switch here over into Kippy, I go for an Ice Beam, Maxi goes for another potion as well, so when this Ice Beam does connect straight after, it was going to put the Crobat back down into low life, but we end up getting a critical hit, so this goes down. And with all that, now it's going to put us into his final Pokemon, Camerupt. Swampert being the perfect Pokemon for this. I go for a Muddy Water. This is double super effective. Camerupt goes down, and that's Maxi defeated. Letting us then go all the way into Team Aqua's hideout, where we're going to go get into just another little Team Aqua admin battle. Now, these battles aren't really anything too much towards a run, but I thought I'd just add it in because what this does is it allows us access to Mosty. I go for a Thunderbolt on the Mighty N and knock it down onto really low life. He heals. I go for a Charge Beam, go up into +1 as well, and then go finish this off with another Charge Beam on the next turn, and also get boosted up into +2 special attack. His final Pokemon after that then is a Golbat, and this is going down to a +2 Thunderbolt. Take down the Golbat, and that's Admin Matt defeated, which again is going to give us access to Moss Deep City, where we're going to go get into the fight with Tate and Liza, the 7th gym leaders of a run. Now, every time I play Emerald, Tate and Liza are the ones I'm mostly worried about, but after having a look at their team, I decided that I had a plan. So I'm going to lead off this fight with both Camo and Kamikaze against the Miss Magius and Claydol. And I'm going to go for an Air Slash on the Claydol on the first turn to try and get a flinch as well. Miss Magius goes for a Carmine, and unfortunately we don't get the flinch on Claydol, so it does hit us with Earthquake. It's only going to affect Camo though. I'm then going to turn into a Steel type with my Protein ability, go for an Iron Head on the Miss Magius, and this is a one-shot, so this goes down immediately. Tate and Liza then send out Lunatone, and I'm going to go for a Brave Bird here on the Claydol. Claydol sets up a light screen, and Lunatone tries it as well, so it doesn't work. And I go for a Slack off with Camo to get my HP back. Now with the Claydol in what I think is healing range, I'm actually going to go double up on the Lunatone this turn, hitting this with a Brave Bird and knocking it to just a little bit above half-life, before then taking a Psychic from Claydol. Kamikaze now going down to quite low life, as I'm going to go finish off a Lunatone with an Iron Head. With Lunatone down, Tate and Liza send out their Soul Rock, and I'm going to go for an Iron Head on the Claydol to try and take this down. Whilst doing this as well, I'm also then going to go make a hard switch with Kamikaze over into Kippy. Get hit with an Ancient Power on switch, which isn't very effective, and Soul Rock goes for a Sunny Day so it can set up its Solar Beams. My Iron Head then on the Claydol is going to take this down, leaving Tate and Liza with only a Soul Rock. And because I know it's probably going for Solar Beam here, I'm going to aim an Iron Head at the Soul Rock, hard switch Swampert over into Squishy, and it actually goes for Flamethrower as well and hits Camo instead. It also burns me, which is really annoying because now I'm going to do a bit less damage, but I did manage to get Squishy in safely, so on this next turn I'm able to use Spore and put the Soul Rock to sleep. I also heal Camo with another Slack off, and Squishy's able to go put this into low life with 2 hits from Bullet Seed. And then I go for an Iron Head, take down the Soul Rock, and we defeat Tate and Liza for the 7th gym badge of a run. I have another fight with Maxi coming up now, and looking at my team I definitely don't have enough Pokemon to take this on safely, so we go back to shiny hunting just outside the Moss Deep Space Center, and after looking for around about an hour or two I end up finding myself a shiny Vibrava, with my level cap now being at 46 as well, which means that I can catch a shiny Vibrava, and I can go level this up to level 45 and evolve it into a Flygon. And now with this new 6th edition to the team, I feel ready to go take on Maxi. Now in this fight it's actually a double battle. He's going to lead off with Gliscor and Crobat, so I'm going to lead off with our new Flygon and Kippy. My idea for the first turn here was I was going to go for Breaking Swipe because it hits both of them, and it's also going to lower their attack stat as well. After hitting the Breaking Swipe as well, I can go for an Ice Beam on the Gliscor, and we can go take this down. Maxi after then sends in Ursaluna, and again just like the last turn I'm going to go for another Breaking Swipe, and I'm also going to go for a Muddy Water as well. well. 2 attacks that hit both Pokemon on the same turn. We also get a critical hit on the Ursaluna, which is really nice, knock it into low life, and we get the Crobat down into low life as well, before then getting hit by a Yawn. So myself in my mind now, I'm thinking, do I switch with Kippy or do I take this chance to just take down the Ursaluna? And I actually went with this in the end. Going for the breaking swipe, Maxi switches out the Crobat and knocked the Ursaluna onto low life, hit the Shiftry as well, and then I go for the Muddy Water to take the Ursaluna down. Shiftry doesn't take too much damage from this, which is understandable because it's a grass type, but because it's a grass type and I'm a water ground, I'm going to have to switch. And also I fall asleep, so yeah, I'm definitely going to have to switch. Shiftry hits Kamikaze with a fake out on switch, and then we dodge a high horsepower as well, due to being a flying type. Now one thing I didn't actually realise is Dodrio is a ground type in this. I don't know, it still gets me confused, even now. I decide I'm going to go for an Air Slash on Dodrio. I'm also holding a King's Rock as well to up my flinch chances, so we go for the Air Slash. We actually get the flinch as well, which is perfect. Another breaking swipe then puts Dodrio onto really low life, and it also takes down Shiftry as well. Now with this, we only have Camerupt, Dodrio, and a really low life Crobat to take down. So with Flygon here, I'm going to go for Earthquake. I'm going to go for a quick attack on Dodrio as well to finish this off, as our Earthquake on the Camerupt knocks it onto really low life. It goes for Yawn. That's nothing to worry about because this fight is going to be finished by the next turn. So I go for another Earthquake and I go for a quick attack to take down the Crobat and then to take down the Camerupt and win the fight. And after beating Maxi, we have one last fight with Archie, and winning this fight is going to get us into Sutopolis. Archie here starts off with Wailord, I start off with Wilson, and I decide I'm just going for a Thunderbolt immediately to take this down with a one-shot. Archie's second Pokemon then is Breloom, so I'm going to Volt Switch, do a little bit of damage to this before making a switch over into Kamikaze, take a Bullet Seed on switch, and this actually does a lot more damage than I was ever anticipating. I don't know, I just didn't think it was going to do that much. I go for an Air Slash after, double super effective, take down the Breloom, and that then's going to get us into his Crobat. So for Crobat, I'm going to switch back over into Wilson. We take a Poison Fang on the switch, and I go for a Thunderbolt and put the Crobat into really low life before taking a Leech Life. Now, Leech Life could have been good here because I thought it was going to heal the Crobat just past healing range, but Archie still heals. I go for a Charge Beam, knock the Crobat back into kind of low life, get myself into +1. Archie heals again as I go for a second Charge Beam, get a Crobat now into really low life, also get myself to +2 special attack, and then I go for a third Charge Beam and finish this off. So now when Archie sends in his final Pokemon, which is Sharpedo, I've got a +2 special attack Electrode. I go for a +2 special attack Thunderbolt. We take this down with a one-shot, and that is Archie defeated for the final time in the run, allowing us now to get access into Sutopolis, where we're going to go get into the 8th gym fight of the run against One. One starts off with a Starmie. I'm starting off with our Electrode, and I'm going to go for a Charge Beam on the first turn. Knock the Starmie down into one shot thanks to a critical hit. Take an extra Sensory after, which is going to put us down into Half-Life. And then I go take this down with a second Charge Beam after. This also puts me into +2 special attack, but this is going to mean nothing because One then sends out after a Whiscash, which is a water ground type, and with Wilson only knowing electric type moves, I have to switch because I can't do any damage to this thing. So I gotta make a switch here over into Squishy. Whiscash goes for a Rain Dance. I'm not too worried about this, honestly. I'm gonna go hit this with a Power Up Punch and put myself into +1 attack. Whiscash then uses Amnesia, so it's actually boosting its special defense here, not its physical, so that's not gonna do anything. A second Power Up Punch on the next turn then puts Whiscash into really low life as it then hits me with Water Pulse, and I was praying that I don't get confused, but at the same time I was also holding a Lumberry, so I wasn't worried about that either. And now at +2, I'm going to go for a third Power Up Punch, take down the Whiscash, put myself into +3 attack, and move on into his next Pokemon. His next Pokemon then here is Octillery, and Octillery in this game is actually a fire water type. So just in case Bullet Seed didn't take this down, I'm going to go for a Spore, put this to sleep, before then going for our Bullet Seed. And a big critical hit on the first turn is going to knock it down onto its berry. It's going to get a bit of healing. I'm then going to knock it down into low life with a second Bullet Seed. And then with a third Bullet Seed, we can finish this off, putting us in into One's 4th Pokemon, which is Kingdra. And again, I'm also going to do the same thing here as well, just in case. I'll go put the Kingdra under Spore, so I can make it fall asleep, before then going for a Bullet Seed. And taking this down with a 4-shot. One's final Pokemon after then is Celio. And Celio goes down to a 2-shot from +3 Bullet Seed. And we defeat One for the 8th gym badge of a run. I head here into Pacific Log and start doing some shiny hunting some more, and I found myself a shiny Surskit after about an hour of looking. I capture this up, and after checking Google for a name, I come up with the original nickname of Dewdrop. And with all 8 gym badges now, we can head up to Victory Road, where we're going to go get into our last fight of a run against Wally. Wally here leads off with an Altaria. I'm going to go lead off Camo, and I'm going to go for an Iron Head on the first turn, whilst Wally goes for Dragon Dance, which puts itself into +1 attack, +1 speed. Wally on the next turn tries to go for another Dragon Dance, which is going to up its speed and attack into +2. My Iron Head then puts the Altaria into really low life. It goes for a +2 Aerial Ace on me. It does nothing due to being a Steel type now. I go for a third Iron Head and take this down. Nextly then, Wally sends out Magnezone, and it hits me with a Supersonic, which is annoying because I don't want to be confused. But we managed to get past this and go for a Drain Punch, knocking the Magnezone below half-life while restoring our HP. I then take a Thunderbolt after, and that's going to put me down a little bit of HP. I managed to get past the confusion again though, hit this with a second Drain Punch, and take this down. Wally's third Pokemon then is Delcatty, and this also hits me with Sing, so I'm confused and asleep, which could have been really annoying for a couple turns, but we ended up waking up on the very next turn, getting past confusion again, and hitting this with a Drain Punch to knock it down into one shot. Delcatty then after tries Singing again, it misses. I get past confusion another time and can take down the Delcatty. With the Delcatty down, we now then get into Wally's Roserade, and annoyingly this hits me with Leech Seed, but thankfully I finally snap out of confusion at least, hit this with an Iron Head, knock it down into one shot. It gets a bit of healing from that Leech Seed, as it also then hits me with a Giga Drain as well. It doesn't do too much damage at least due to me being a Steel type because of Protein. I go for a second Iron Head, we take this down, and then get into Wally's final Pokemon, which is his Gardevoir. Wally's Gardevoir goes for a Future Sight, but he's also a one shot to Iron Head, so I go and take this down, defeat Wally, and now we can make our way all the way up to Evergrande City, where we can go get into the Elite Four. A little after the Wally battle, Dewdrop's going to go and evolve into a Masquerain, and whilst training somewhat and maybe looking for another shiny in Victory Road, I end up getting into a fight with Skullbat that didn't let me escape. It then used Mean Look as well, which makes this so much worse. I thought what I'm going to have to do here is, because it's outspeeding me, I'm going to have to go for an Agility and try and Air Slash flinches, but then it uses Haze, so my +3 speed is suddenly taken away from me. I then use Agility again to go get myself back up into +3 and keep trying to go for this Air Slash flinch. It Poison Fangs, and I'm just praying I don't die here or get poisoned, and thankfully I don't. Then I looked at the Golbat's HP and I was like, okay, we're going to do this now. I can take this down with an Air Slash. I go for the Air Slash. We must have low rolled or something, I don't know. Golbat didn't go down and we lost Dewdrop. I was so mad. And because of this, we just have to move on now with our first death of a run. So here's how our team is looking before the Elite Four. Everyone's at their level cap at level 52, and we go get into things. Now our first battle of the Elite Four is against Sydney. Sydney's a dark type trainer, and I've planned this fight out to perfection. So first turn here with Squishy, I'm going to use Spore, put the Mighty Enna to sleep, and then hit this with a Power Up Punch after, knocking it down into one shot and putting myself into +1 attack. Mighty Enna stays asleep, and then on this next turn I go for another Power Up Punch, take down the Mighty Enna, and also put ourselves into +2 attack. And with that, that's game. We're going to go hit his Honchkrow with Sky Uppercut. This is a one shot, so we go take this down. We then take down Sydney's Absol after with another Sky Uppercut, getting us into Sydney's fourth Pokemon, which is Crawdaunt. I go take this down with a 2 shot to Bullet Seed. And now lastly, all we have to take down is Sydney's Cacturn, and this also goes down to a one shot from Sky Uppercut, and it's Sydney defeated. Moving us on up into the second room of the Elite Four then, against Phoebe, the Ghost type trainer. Now Phoebe was a lot harder than Sydney, but it's still manageable. So we start off this fight by leading Camo. Camo is equipped with the Choice Band, and I'm going to go for a Shadow Claw on the Dusclops, which takes this down with a one shot. Nextly then, Phoebe sends out a Bayonet, and this is a Ghost normal type, which means I actually can't hit this. Shadow Claw isn't going to work, and I can't switch moves, so instead I go and switch myself out over into Kamikaze. Shadow Ball tries to get used on switch. It doesn't affect me due to being part normal type, and then I'm going to go for a Brave Bird and knock this down into one shot. Bayonet also hits me with a Thunderbolt here, which knocks me also down into one shot, but this is fine because I go for the second Brave Bird and take this down. Nextly then, Phoebe goes and sends out a Dusknoir. I instantly go and make a switch here over into Camo, and the Dusknoir goes for an Ice Beam, which does pretty much like no damage. From here then, I'm going to go and use Shadow Claw again, knock the Dusknoir into low life. It's going to get a bit of healing from its berry, which takes it out of healing range. It hits me with an Earthquake as well, which puts me me into around about half-life, and I'm going to go finish this off with a second Shadow Claw. And now with Dusknoir down, we get a Mismagius next. And staying in with Camo here is not what I want to do, so I'll go make a switch here from Camo over into Wilson. Take a Shadow Ball on switch, and that also lowers my special defense as well, which is really annoying, because it just tells me that I can't survive another hit, so I'll go for a Volt switch. Knock the Mismagius down onto low life thanks to a nice critical hit, and make a switch here over into Kippy. Mismagius goes for another Shadow Ball, and I can go finish this off with a Rock Slide, putting us into Phoebe's last Pokemon, which is Frostlass. So for Frostlass, I actually do make a switch here again back over into Camo, and he goes for a Will-O-Wisp here, which misses, which I thought was going to be really nice, but then on the next turn, it goes for Will-O-Wisp again, and it actually hits me. So when I go for this Iron Head here, I don't do enough damage to take this down. I put the Frostlass down into healing range, and I also get my Iron Head disabled by Cursed Body, so I'm forced to switch. I switch here back over into Wilson. Phoebe uses the full restore and puts Frostlass back up to full life, as I then go for a Thunderbolt, knock it back down into lowish life, take a Will-O-Wisp, which isn't going to affect us in any negative way due to being a special attacker, and I can go finish this off with the second Thunderbolt and defeat Phoebe, so we can then move into the third room of the Elite Four against Glacier. Now Glacier, just like Sydney, is literally just a sweep. She starts off here with a Dugong. I start off here with Squishy, and on the first turn I'm going to go put this to sleep with Spore. Dugong likes setting up Hail, so when I go for Power Punch here to try and boost my attack, it doesn't matter all too much if Dugong wakes up. I don't want it to do that, but it wouldn't matter all too much. Next turn after this I go for a second Power Up Punch, and that's game. Wolverine comes out. This is a one shot to Sky Uppercut, so we go and take this down. I then do the same thing after to Cloyster and take this down with a one shot from Sky Uppercut as well. Glaceon's her fourth Pokemon then. This also goes down to a one shot from Sky Uppercut as well, so we take this down, putting us into our final Pokemon Glalie, as we then take this down with a final Sky Uppercut as well and defeat Glacier, sweeping through her entire team, as we then get access into the fourth room of the Elite Four against Drake. Now Drake's actually one of the trainers I'm most worried about in the entire run. He's a very strong dragon type trainer, and he leads off here with Kingdra, so I'm going to lead off with Wilson. I've got the choice specs, I go for a Thunderbolt, and I knock the Kingdra down into one shot. This also hits me with a Dragon Pulse as well, puts me into half-life, and I can go finish this off on the next turn. And now with the Kingdra down, he's going to send out that Pokemon I'm mostly scared about, which is Salamence, and immediately I'll go make a switch here over into Kippy. I've got an Ice Beam saved at the ready for this, and it hits me with a Dragon Claw. Now nicely, I'm also holding the Rocky Helmet here, so I get a bit of chip damage on the first Dragon Claw, take a second Dragon Claw, do a bit more chip damage again with my Rocky Helmet, and can go finish this off with this double super effective attack. Once the Salamence goes down, Drake then sends in Flygon, and with Kippy on low life here, I don't want to stay in anymore, so I make a switch here over into Squishy. Take an Earthquake on the switch, as I then go for Spore and put this to sleep. I'm hitting this after with a Power Up Punch and putting myself into +1. Flygon stays asleep throughout the whole turn, and then I go for a Bullet Seed. A nice critical hit, helping us take this down to a 3-shot. Drake after then sends in Altaria, so I'm going to make a switch here over into Camo, and I go for a Dazzling Gleam on the switch. With Camo now, I'm going to go for an Iron Head as they try and do a Dragon Dance to bulk themselves up a little. And my Iron Head here is going to go put them just below half-life. I'm then hit by an Aerial Ace, which doesn't really do much damage, and I go finish this off with the second Iron Head here, putting us into Drake's final Pokemon now, which is Steelix. So for Steelix here, I immediately switch over into Sahara. I know it's going for Earthquake, so I dodge that. I'm going to hit this with an Earthquake of my own here, and I actually get really low life as well. It then goes for Iron Defense, puts itself into +2 defense, and I'm kind of looking at this now. I'm like, what do I do here? I don't think I'm going to kill it with another Earthquake because the last one was a crit and now it's on +2, so I'm going to make a hard switch here over into Squishy. Immediately I'm going to go use Spore and put this thing to sleep, and now I'm going to go for a Power Up Punch, do a bit of chip damage. I know it's not going to kill, but it's going to put me into +1 at least. The Steelix doesn't wake up, which is absolutely perfect for us. I'm now going to go for a Sky Uppercut and pray this finishes it off, and thankfully it does. So the Steelix goes down, and that's Drake defeated. And with Drake down, that means we've defeated the entirety of the Elite Four and can go get into the final challenge of the run against Champion Wallace. Wallace is a water type trainer, squishy, just like what he did to Sydney, just like what he did to Glacier. He's going to absolutely destroy this fight. On the first turn, I'm going to go put the Wailord to sleep with Spore, and then on the next turn, I'm going to go for a Power Up Punch, do a bit of chip damage, put myself into +1. Wailord actually wakes up here as well and uses Rain Dance, so because of this, I'm going to go use Spore again and put it back to sleep. Next turn after, I use a second Power Up Punch, knock it just below half-life and put myself into +2. It then wakes up again and uses uses double edge, but I know from here that a third power-up punch is going to kill this, so I don't even have to worry about putting this back to sleep. I go for my third power-up punch, take down the Wailord, put myself into +3, and that's game. Squishy currently is holding the loaded dice, so when Wallace sends out my Milotic here, I'm going to go hit this with a Bullet Seed, put the Milotic into really low life as it gets some Citrus Berry healing, hit it with a second Bullet Seed after, and Milotic goes down. Wallace then sends in Gyarados, and this does have Intimidate, so it puts me down into +2 attack instead of +3 now, but nothing is going to stop Squishy in this fight. +2 Bullet Seed with a loaded dice is going to allow me to 4-shot the Gyarados with Bullet Seed. Whiscash comes in after, being a water ground type. There's absolutely no way it's going to survive Bullet Seed, so I go and take this down. So now we're just up against Wallace's last 2 Pokemon. He sends in Ludicolo, and my +2 Bullet Seed allows me to go and take this down with a 4-shot. And now lastly, we just got Wallace's final Pokemon, which is Tentacruel. So just like every other Pokemon in this fight, nothing surviving, a +2 loaded dice Bullet Seed. We go take down the Tentacruel with a 3-shot, and we win the fight, meaning that we've beaten the challenge and we've beaten the run. Guys, I really hope you've all enjoyed. I've actually really liked this game as well. I've also heard there's a harder version as well, so I'm on the lookout for that. I definitely want to give that a go too, so if I can find it, we definitely will. If you've made it this far and have enjoyed the video, make sure to leave me a like if you haven't already. Leave me some love down in the comments, and if you haven't as well, make sure you smash that subscribe button. We've just hit 6,000 subscribers, which is insane. Thank you guys so much. I've got a bunch of things in the works that I think you guys are going to love, but until then, it's been Ant, and I will see you all in another video very soon. Peace out, guys.